crazy witch, Amy.
Like a good neighbor.
Go, go, green. Go, hurry up. People behind you. You should have already been way past there. Come on, Fatso. You too, gosh. Makes us look skinny. Sorry, Jesus. Oh, I see that pop up on Facebook. Perimeter Hall. Oh, what's up with her nose? Ooh, looks like you got burnt. That same dude, don't he ever get a day off? Stupid. We're not over here too often. Is that where the ice skating is?
Yeah.
And ultimately judgment from your maker. Judgment for your sin. But
Trying to get there.
here the judge comes on the
The new ice
scene.
skating
Here
rink.
the judge speaks to men that think that they're free, because I want to submit to you that all of us think that we're free. No one is free to sin. We've been used to our sin. We're used to our life.
There's Santa.
We'll go park for free and take a walk.
Yeah.
Don't forget cat litter.
Saturday though.
Yeah, I know.
I gotta get cat litter.
I don't have time to text you. I gotta get going. Sorry. Yeah, those carriages look different too. Look at that one being so wide. Oh, that's a girl. Yeah, $40. Don't forget the horse. Alright, gotta get going.
Well, you can give anybody a ride out of charity.
Yeah, I can get a ride for free, but I don't. Do it after I go to work. Get it afterwards. Give me.
So I make more money doing this than actually playing it. And that'll be also something that will be connected to time travel as well. The whole copyright thing. You'll see, you'll see. So there are like maybe I think one or two. There's Primer is time travel. It's Sharon. I'm sorry, Karen. What's his name? Shane. His name is Shane. Shane Carruth. It's actually good. It did well at Sundance. He also did upstream color. Now, Bowie. Okay, yeah, okay. Is Bowie a time traveler, or had he been a time traveler the entire time, or at least acknowledged the existence of it through, in probably some way? Did he belong to a time traveling movie? Well, I don't know. I gotta go. I haven't seen The Man Who Fell from Earth, but I need to see that. Okay, so yeah, going back to Bowie, as in David Bowie, could have figured it out maybe. He was trying to exorcise demons from Pool one time while doing Station to Station. But regardless, I don't know if that was like a portal he was over or something. But he did work with Lynch. Lynch probably acknowledges it. But there was a 1980 movie, I gotta find it, it's like Millennium or something. And it talks about like a particle Z or something. Okay? I gotta like dig in there. My memory is actually very, it works when it needs to work, and when it's working, it's working. And then it shuts, powers down, and then, like, what line was that? Because I've been an actor for, like, a long time. But when I was younger, I did see this 1980 time traveling movie. I don't know what it's called. I got to figure it out. But Back to the Future and stuff like that, they kind of, the flux capacitor, and, they just kind of like, it's like a triangle. I think the triangle has something to do with it, but, it's like a three, they kind of get into theory. Now, Shane Carruth and Primer, they got into the mechanics, like not the physical or the physicist or the physical, what do you call it? The physics. A little bit of the physics, and then you saw these mechanics at work. Something to do with the temperature and all this other stuff, and like they went into a storage unit, they had a rest and all this, and they were using some kind of chemicals and stuff, because that's certainly probably part of it. But we didn't really get like laid down like this is what happens and blah blah, It didn't get real Oppenheimer, and I haven't seen Oppenheimer, which is not necessarily time travel. It's kind of the opposite, right? So when we're dealing with fission and fusion, we're dealing with nuclear fusion, we're dealing with a complete opposite way of thinking, if you know what I mean. So I thought, when I started coming up with some of these theories, I was doing a lot of rideshare, it was the way of thinking that would lead to time travel, that would change. And that probably was what Einstein brought about whenever he said E equals MC squared. He changed the way of thinking. And people were like, what? So scientists started thinking differently. And then they started getting chemicals, and they started, so they had to have this one dude, and they pulled him out, I think, of Germany during like a horrible time. They had this one dude say this weird stuff, and they're like, who is this guy? He's a patent guy, blah, blah. And they got him, and they were like, okay. And then they started, and then I guess he met Oppenheimer. I didn't know he met Oppenheimer. I have like no historical, like I have no idea about Oppenheimer's life. I really know loosely about Einstein and all. I know he's a patent dude or something weird. It would be nice to see Oppenheimer. I should probably see it. But what I really like, what I think is interesting, is how David Lynch brought it about in Twin Peaks, talking about the nuclear bomb. Twin Peaks Return, the one that Jim Jarmusch likes. I like his approach to, because I think all of this, okay, and I'm a big believer in this, even though it's time travel or hell's to portal, or portals to hell, or, Dante's Alighieri or Divine Comedy, it's all connected. And I think there is a demonic force, and there's a dominion that fell from heaven. There was a war in heaven, and this demonic force either started toying with time, because they say that Jesus Christ is a time traveler because he's always going back on the cross to pay for the sins. So it just goes back to the cross, And then there's a time travel thing going on, and what they feel is that's the only consistent part of time. So something went down. There was an eclipse that day, or there was the sky was dark. He was on the cross, and something went down in time, and it opened something. Just like it happened, the same thing when Eve ate from the fruit of good and evil. There was a shift in gravity. I feel there was a shift in gravity. That was the first shift in gravity, and that was the first time the planet started to tilt, was during the time of Genesis and Adam and Eve. There was a shifting in the way the planets were, or the way the planet was, and the moon. That was when the moon locked in and started to rotate, and it created tides, it created gravity, it created a deeper sense of gravity. There would still be gravity without the moon, but it changed the way the gravity is, and the tides and stuff like that. So things became hard and harsh. And I had those theories too a long time ago, when I was, talking about the good is good equally theory, which everyone was like debatable. Oh, that's dangerous, we got to get him. You know what I mean? That was weird. When I was on campus at Texas Wesleyan, I started talking about good is good equally, and it was like a dangerous thing. It was like someone saying good is equally, let's go get him. It was just a real weird kind of, behavior kind of thing, because laws are based in behavior. They are. Laws are based in behavior ever since the time of Moses. But what it means when it comes to time travel is all these different movies. And when it comes to Cameron, Back to the Future, you've got the really good one that I can't find, the Millennium one, where 12 Monkeys is pretty good. I like it. Because some of them, what they do is they bring in a reality of time travel. Primer does too, and so does 12 Monkeys. But it brings in kind of a reality of the existence and time travel. And I think the French one that's based, the original 12 Monkeys, I can't think of the name. I think it's called 12 Monkeys, but it's in French. That brings in a reality too. But there's one that actually talks about theory. It's a 1981. So if you know it, let me know if you can get a hold of it. It's probably on VHS tape. It's a 1980 time travel movie. It's got a weird name, and I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, I gotta go get some cat litter. What was really weird was when I was talking about time travel and all that stuff, this car pulled up, and I saw the dude in there, and I turned around, and then the dude was gone. Come and leave a message or something. It's a possibility. You don't really know. It hasn't been proven. I mean, you can believe in something that, you know, hasn't been proven or has been proven or whatever. You know. 1989. It's called Millennium. It's with Chris Christopherson, who's a musician. Yeah, I just found it. It's 1989. I was right. It was Millennium. It's actually a really good one. It's probably on VHS mostly. I don't even know if you can get a hold of it. 1989 is the time travel movie. It's not the name of it. The name of it's called Millennium. It's with Chris Christopherson. So there's certain areas that have attraction. And Sleepy Hollow, this is Sleepy Hollow right here, it actually has attraction. So it's probably an entry point, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to time travel. Bulb had, that was my first channel, was Pigeon 1. It had, it went into time travel a little bit, but it had to do with the clock, and there was like, it was going to be like an indie film, and it was going to be about like this guy's reaction to Kurt Cobain and being a telemarketer and being by himself, recovering from a divorce, and all of a sudden he time travels, but he's only able to like figure it out because it was very like, there's no way, they're like, I don't know if they'd buy that, but it was like a start, and what is the purpose of all these videos and all this stuff, But there's some true stuff, okay? When I was living in Ridgemar Plaza with my first wife, someone knocked on the door late at night, about 2 o'clock. There was probably a police report that had to be filed. When I didn't answer the door. I didn't just open the door. So I didn't even look through the peephole. I had like this premonition not to look through the peephole. And so I said, "Who is it?" And the other voice said, "Me." Like that. And I immediately ran over and grabbed the phone. I think I actually dialed 911. I don't know if I called the police. Like, you can call the police station. And they showed up. And it was late. And then they knocked, and I let them in and everything, and they came in and they basically said, "Oh, what happened?" And I said, "Well, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Someone knocked on the door." And they were like, "Okay," and then what? And I said, "I didn't answer the door." And they said, "That's good." And then I said, "Well," they said, "Well, what went on?" I said, "Who is it?" And then they just said, "Me." And they were just kind of looking, they look kind of like strange, or kind of like, And I guess they filed a report. And I don't know this exact date because I wasn't doing all this stuff then. Mostly I had a computer, I had a supercomputer. I had, my first wife was with me. We had a Dynex TV. We had I believe it was a Toshiba? Yeah, I had a Toshiba in the computer room, I think. We had a tube television, and I believe we had a VCR. I had a PS3, 2 PS3s to be exact. And the Barnum and Bailey shirt was still there. That's what I used in the first, well, not the first, but independent on the back stage one that I was in, where I played Gary Lincoln is a nickname for him, Gary Lincoln, but it's actually Gary. He was a male hustler that went south and passed out. It was, It did get a lot of views. It got the most views. It got 172,000. That's a movie. It's an indie film called Back Page that did pretty good on Amazon. It made about $5,000. It was a little indie film. It done in Fort Worth. The Trinity River was in some of it. That's another thing. The Trinity River reminds me of the Matrix. Anyway. Looks like Amy the Witch might have had a little bit of burn entry on her nose. And this one just ran right into my place about 2 years ago, out of nowhere. Open the door, whoosh, which is what the other one's trying to do. Cool. Yep, that's correct. There we go. Oh, kitty. Got that package and that package. Meow. Note to Google, maybe. If it's a Google Studio film for Rib dash Dog Night Out dash Shepherds of Alaska, possibly time travel movie. I know, it's like, what? This is a cop drama. And it started off like, it actually started off a revolutionary drama, and then it switched. It's probably a time travel movie. It's also hinted in there, it's about the Dominion, the war in heaven. It's about the war in heaven, actually. Think of Angels and Demons, which is Brown. I think his name is Brown. Danny Brown, yeah. Okay, now, there's a symbol on your thumbnail. So when you go into YouTube, you're creating you're going to upload it, everything's going to upload, boom, 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 boom. When you look at your thumbnail, it's blank. There's a little symbol there, okay? You just saw it on that post I just now did. That symbol is what they wear on their little vest thing, okay? Some people will get that. It's going to be very similar. It's like two mountains, and it looks weird. That's going to be the rib symbol eventually when they get more sophisticated. Because they're not like party any nation and stuff. They're like out of time kind of people. Okay. So, you know, it's not a Heaven's Gate thing. Hi, everybody. The aircraft's coming. No, it's not. I'm using that as a way to see if anyone catches it, especially when they're watching. There'll be probably a lot of YouTubers that will catch it. And there'll be people like, oh, that's neat. But it'll be something that will resemble that. Okay. All right. So we are quoting in Rib. We are quoting Time After Time. That's an important movie. It's Michael McDowell. He's Jack the Ripper that goes back in time. This is very right on the same plane. I would say if anyone got that, and I did do a Time After Time vlog. I did do one on it with Michael McDowell. This is right on that plane. Almost exactly. Only we're not dealing with Jack the Ripper. We're dealing with a character named Daniel Lucius Kopex. Hopefully Ray finds. And you guessed it. Now, does he time travel? We'll have to get into that later. We know that he played Dungeons and Dragons when he was younger. And we know he murdered someone, which his name was Craig. So we know that about him. So those things are real. But does he time travel? I don't know if like all these people are affected by the time travelers. Now, there's going to be two parallels in the movie. I don't know if we can do this, but this is also going to be in the book. We haven't got there yet. All of a sudden, a chapter is going to be a very brief, very stern chapter with the Archangel Michael and basically God for a moment. It'll be like a couple exchange, and then it'll go away really quick. It won't be a very long chapter. But the Dominion fell, and then they took sides, and they did weird things, the Dominion. So there was God in his heaven, and the heaven, that the kingdom, and then there was ones that fell. So really have to do with that. The whole time travel thing is like part of something that's like, it's called a sci-fi genre. This is more of angel demon genre, demonic kind of thing. So Daniel Lucius Copex was probably embodied by some kind of spirit at a young age during this time when he was at this thing called River Park Falls. It was called River Park Falls. It's like a park. And it happened to him then, and it changed him, and he joined like that. So it's that kind of thing. And there, we might get into cats and dogs and like hint at it, like I did with Grace, which I don't know. I don't know if Grace really hints at it. It pretty much says it if you read Grace A.K. Ware vlog, which not many people really have it. But I don't know if they have the new version, the updated version, but there's a version where the landscaper goes down into this cave and he sees these paintings of cats on the wall. That's right, Kitty. There's Kitty. Okay.